My name is Donna Fiesel.
And I'm Cathy Tillery. Thank you for watching,
We're your
being here
hosts
with
of
us.
The Edge with Donna and Cathy. You can find us on television 2 different ways.
That's right. On cable in North Alabama.
Channel 182 Charter.
That's right. And Abundant TV. You can actually find that on Roku. So if you have a smart TV, you just find Abundant and add it to it, and you got us.
Yeah,
Our Fire Stick.
Yeah, a little Fire Stick. Find us Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV.
Now, see, I actually have to program it into the TV because I don't have a stick. I have cable down in south of you.
Okay, so I wondered why you were telling me. Okay, because we've got the Roku, but no, we got the
Fire Stick thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's like the bigger deal. Okay, so we got, because we don't have cable.
Right.
And so that's the difference, because I've been scratching my head. She's been telling me, I've had to do this, and I'm like,
that's what we did. We had to add it to our TVs. And my daughter, and they're on a different cable company. In St. Clair County.
That makes sense.
So they're even a different cable company. But they added Abundant to their smart TV, and they get it. I think they're on Direct or something. I don't know what exactly what theirs is. Yeah, but as long as you've got a smart TV, you can add us. And then you can get us on Facebook, too. Every day from 1 to 1:30, because we've gone from 3 days a week when we first started the show a few weeks back to every day, Monday through Friday. And then actually her afternoon drive home is right after our show. So you can stay tuned because she has some great interviewed guests. We will eventually, we'll have some other people on the show because we're just now starting to venture out. Isn't that right? I'm excited. There's so much to do.
Well, you got something you want to talk to us about. I think she will die with this recipe. Are you going to tell us?
I want to tell us about I'm going to tell about the recipe. But first, we want to have a happy note today. We've talked a lot lately about different recipes, which are always great because everybody loves food. But we also talked about some safety and some other things in the past few weeks. Yes. And the holidays coming up. So this recipe I'm going to give you is great for that if you have a lot of family coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can put it in the crock pot. It's a crock pot recipe. But before I even get to that, I want to tell you about some good news I actually read, Donna, today. I have like this Newsbreak app. Probably a lot of people do. If you have Apple phones or whatever. That there is a new manufacturing plant coming. $250 million Alabama plant is coming. Ammunition.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's cool. Where's it going to be?
I think by what I'm reading now, of course, you can go online to Newsbreak and you can pull up the article. It says ammunition manufacturer plans $250 million Alabama plant. And by what I'm reading, it's maybe near Chambers County.
Okay.
So that's South Alabama. That's the hunting ground.
Y'all have been listening. Absolutely. So if you would like to come to Alabama, I promise you the cost of living is much lower here. You won't pay as much in taxes.
That's right.
And the kids are good in school. You know why? Because your mama knows about it by the time you get home if you've done something.
That's right. We don't have a lottery in Alabama, but also we don't have high taxes in Alabama. A lot of the states that do have the lottery, their land property taxes are a lot more.
Somebody got to make up for it.
They got to do something one way or the
compensate.
Other. Yes, one way or the other.
Absolutely.
So, but on to the good recipes. Okay, so I need you to get out your crock pot, and a chuck roast is what you'll need from the grocery store. You can sometimes find them. Well, you use Foodland up here, right? And then also you buy beef from a local supplier.
Absolutely.
So all you need to ask for is a chuck roast. And usually they run you between...
There's the ad right there.
Oh, there it was.
Yeah.
You run, you can actually, usually you're going to spend between $16 and say $25 for a good chuck roast. But if you could get one, usually I buy the one between $18 and $22 because it serves at least, now my husband loves meat. So he actually he eats about 2 people's serving portion of meat when I do a roast. But I bought a bigger one. And I just did this recently. You Get your chuck roast, okay? You can do all this before you head out to work for the day, okay? Or you can do it at night. You can prep it at night and then just put it in the fridge and then throw it in the crock pot, and you can get all your chores done during the day or whatever you've got to do in and out of the house, okay? But with crock pots, you know, just remember this. If it's an older crock pot, be careful with that because that could be a fire hazard. Oh, really? An older crock pot, yeah. So you want to have a newer one that you know is not a fire hazard.
And they don't cost that much anymore.
No, crock pots are great. They're very cost effective. You can get a small crock pot now for nothing. You know, used to you would go to a yard sale to find them because they were like $10 at the yard sale. Now you can find them for 10 or 20 bucks at Walmart, Target, or wherever you shop. You know, you can pick up a little crock pot. But anyway, so you got your roast. Okay, so you want to pull it out of the fridge or out of the freezer. If you freeze a lot of meat, then pull it out the night before and put it in your fridge, and it should be defrosted the next morning. So then you can throw that in your crock pot. You want to cover it with water. Actually, a little bit more than just the roast, because you want to make sure there's plenty of water in there, because you're going to cut up 4 potatoes and leave the skins on there, okay? Because they're healthy, unless you have some issues with your GI tract, then you may not want to do that. You might want to peel your potatoes, but fresh potatoes, okay? And if you've got them in the garden, now's a good time, because this is the second crop coming. My second set of potatoes is done. I noticed it yesterday. They've got the flowers, so it's time to dig them up. So now's a good time to get those potatoes and make you a good winter time football family. It's a good gathering recipe, okay? So put your chuck roast in there, put your potatoes in there, usually about 4, because I use the larger crock pot. Now, if you've got a very small crock pot, you can just cut it down to size to fit your crock pot. But I use the larger one. And I put my chuck roast in there, the water, and then I add my 4 potatoes, and then I add a whole yellow onion. Cut it up.
Sweetness there. A little bit of sweetness.
Yeah. Cut it up really good. Not fine, though. You don't want to use your chopper. You just want it cut up so it cooks really good. Okay? And then use some garlic powder, pepper. Put the lid on it. I turn it on high for about 2 or 3 hours.
And then forget about it.
And then turn it down to low, and you can let it cook. I usually turn mine on about 8 o'clock. And then about 10 or 11, I turn it down to low, and then I forget about it. And then at 4 or 5 o'clock, it's done.
You walk in the house and smell that, it's heaven.
It is. So now you can add carrots to it too.
You know, have a root vegetable.
Like a bag of carrots, you can add that to it. Now, so you've had this great meal, and then you can fix you some biscuits or some rolls on the side, and maybe a can of green beans to go with it. So you've got a great supper prepared, and then everybody eats. Okay, and then you go back in there and you say, "Oh my goodness, I hate to waste this." Right?
Never waste food. It's a sin.
No, so you don't have to waste it.
In the South, it is.
Yeah, you don't have to waste it because it's still on low after everybody's been served, right? So you're going to go ahead and add a packet of brown gravy to the water. Make sure by this time now you can add some more water to it to where it's almost back up to where it was when it was full. But you're going to add 4 more fresh potatoes. This time, though, don't just cut them up in like round pieces. Cut them into cubes. And you can do skins or without the skins, whichever you prefer. And then, now, this time, you want to add carrots.
So this is kind of like leftover roast, but you're doing something else.
We are making beef stew.
And that's always good this time of year.
Yeah, so you can do carrots with it. Actually, my husband, I love carrots. He's not a big carrot fan. So I actually usually add a can of corn and a can of English peas. The little small, the sewer English peas. And then another whole onion. Okay. Now, you've got to let this cook on low. Your meat's already pre-cooked, remember, because you cooked it the day before. So you've got to let it cook on low. Okay. You can either go ahead and cook it, prepare it that night, let it cool, because you never want to put anything really hot in your refrigerator. It'll spoil all your food in there. So you want it to cool to room temperature.
And melt cheese and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's not a good thing. Yeah, it'll spoil your milk, too, because heat rises. So if you put it on the bottom, the heat's going to rise and spoil everything above it. So, but you can add carrots, corn, and peas. Those are the best because it gives it that sweet flavor for beef stew. And then as it's cooking, so this is the next day. Okay, so I've added my ingredients, let my crock pot cool off. I've added my gravy and my 3 types of vegetables I wanted, and my whole onion, and some more pepper. I didn't add more garlic though, just pepper, because I added that pack of brown gravy mix. Okay, you can use any brand of that, just one little packet of brown gravy, and it's cooled down. I put it in the fridge. The next morning I pull it out. Throw it in my little crock pot container, you know. Turn it to low this time, not high, because you want it to just cook on low all day, okay? Or at least for 4 hours till your potatoes are done. And you can always tell how potatoes are done because they get mushy, right? So about 4 or 5 hours, it's probably going to be done. If it's not, let it cook a little longer. Or you could turn it up, you know, or turn it down to warm. My crock pot's an older one, but it's got the high, low, and warm. So you can turn it to warm till supper's ready. But look at your beef stew and make sure. Now I like mine just like that because it's thick enough with the gravy. It adds that thickness to it. But you can always add a little cornstarch, or you can actually take a little bit of flour, maybe like 1/4 of a cup of flour, and maybe 1/4 of a cup of water. And you can mix that together and beat it up really good. And then you can just kind of add it in there and stirring. And then you can make it really thick if you like the thicker beef stew.
I like the cornstarch better than the flour because it doesn't, you know, sometimes you can get these little lumps, you know. And that's why I like cornstarch better. And it just, I mean, that'll thicken it right up.
Oh, yeah. And it's so good, Donna. My husband was like, oh, this is so good. And you don't have to have anything to go with that. But I fix cornbread.
Cornbread's good.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why I'm getting that fall hibernation, little few pounds on. I was telling her before the show, I need to get about 10 pounds off because I think I've already into my fall hibernation mode where I love cornbread and I like to eat Halloween candy and fudge brownies and all that good stuff. But yeah.
But, you know, I'd take it a step further, too, with that. If you were to have any of that left over, now I'd put it in the refrigerator this time for leftovers,
right.
Okay? And so if there are no potatoes, because I'll tell you what, Phil will pick the potatoes out of all that kind of stuff. So if there are no potatoes, and then if you have some instant potatoes, you can make a shepherd's pie out of it.
Oh, that is a great idea.
So what you'll do
is so what do we do there? We take what we've got left over?
Easiest thing in the world. So what you'll need to do, this time put it in, not a Tupperware, okay? It's got to be like a glass type Pyrex.
Like a Pyrex dish, yeah.
Something like that. And you probably won't have a whole lot, but you can make a bigger meal out of it. So what you'll do is get some instant potatoes, or you can mash your own potatoes if you want to do that. But the quickest thing is some instant potatoes. Now, I never fix mine exactly like it is by the box. I add a couple of things. So I'll add about a tablespoon of mayonnaise. That makes it creamier, so it's really good. And if you wanted to use pet milk or evaporated milk, and then, you know, half of the milk and then halfway water, put that in there. And then also add a packet of ranch mix.
The packet that says ranch seasoning. Is that the one you're talking about?
Or it can say salad dressing.
Okay.
Either one of them works.
Yeah, those are great.
And so put that in. Do about a half a packet and then stir that all up. You know, you boil it, you know, the water first. You can put some butter in there, the real stuff. They're the real butter. And then put that on top of it. Put it in the oven for just about 15-20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you could sprinkle some cheese on it.
Really good with cheese on it. So you've actually made 3 meals out of it.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Now, what I do, when I make a big roast like that, I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking about some meals I can have later. And I do almost the same thing you do, but I'm going to have to try that gravy mix. I bet that is super good.
Yeah, it was
gravy,
good. Brown gravy.
Brown gravy. So I'll do that. But what I do is I divide it into sections. And then good freezer bags. You'll never hear me say that enough.
Yes.
I mean, that's important. Don't get cheap stuff.
Or the Tupperware, old-timey Tupperware containers. Those are still good. Because they seal usually.
Yeah, but I'd rather have the bags because I can make sure, because I'm going to tell you what, the air is an enemy to your food.
Right.
And so this way I know I've got all the air out of it, okay? That can be such an enemy. So going ahead and do it through, and you can always also go ahead and pre-mix everything, put it in the freezer, and then it's ready for you.
And that probably increases the longevity in the freezer when you do the Ziploc bags, doesn't it?
Does.
Because I froze a little bit of taco soup this weekend, and I froze some of the beef stew that I'd cooked this weekend, and I usually have to use it like within a week out of the freezer. So I actually froze that, and I'm going to give it to my daughter. Yeah, because the bag, how long? Probably about 2 or 3 months.
About 2 or 3, or even longer. I've had it in there
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many shortcuts that you can take, and it'll save you money from eating out all the time.
Right.
Now, I love eating out. Everybody does, and we have some awesome restaurants in our areas.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. But sometimes you just don't want to stop. Sometimes you just want to go home. You know, you've been out working all day, or maybe you've been handling the kids all day long. Because I'm going to tell you what, you stay at home mothers are the salt of the earth. You are definitely the hand that rocks the cradle.
You work a lot more than people realize.
You are the chauffeur. You're the bookkeeper for the family.
Right.
I mean, you
the
handle
cook,
a lot of
the cook, the housekeeper, the chauffeur, the planner for getting everything.
You're the business manager.
Everything. Yeah. Yeah, you're the bomb.
Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, so hats off to you. And because I've been there, and I actually did that and juggled a job. Or 2. Or 3 sometimes.
So you are the salt of the earth. You most certainly are.
Yes. So, well, Donna, now what's some other things that you like to do, like when the family's coming, because the holidays are coming? That's why I wanted to share that roast recipe.
And that's an awesome one. I like to cook. There are certain things you can fix ahead. You don't have to cook it, but you can fix it ahead. You know, you mentioned dressing.
Right.
You know, like chicken dressing, ham dressing, or whatever you want to do. I'll make that up to a month ahead of time. I won't cook it yet. I'll just put all the ingredients together. And another thing I like to do is I like to use butter instead of using the Pam spray.
Yes, use butter in the
I'm good with it. I'm good with Pam, but the only thing is that over time it builds a residue on your pots and pans.
Right. Yeah, it really does.
So what I'll do is I'll get about a tablespoon of butter.
Or olive oil spray. I use that.
Oh, I love olive oil on everything.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and get about a tablespoon of butter and put it in the microwave and let it melt. And then it'll start getting a little bit hardened. As it's getting hardened, go ahead and use your fingers and use that to, and stuff won't stick. I promise you it won't stick. Let it dry on there. It's going to harden all around your pan. Go ahead and make up your, and never throw cornbread away. Put it in a bag because you can always make dressing out of it. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with leftover. So many things you can do ahead of time.
Yeah, because actually that's what I do at Christmas. Is I actually back up Thanksgiving. I make a pan of dressing to go with the turkey, and then I make a pan of chicken and dressing. But I don't. I put it in a pan that is like aluminum, so that it'll fit in your freezer, because glass could break. So you don't want to do it in glassware. You don't want to ever freeze glassware.
And then that way too, you don't have to worry about dishes. And if you wanted to give some away to somebody, to a family, you don't have to worry about, you know, I'm ever going to get my bowl back, my favorite bowl. You don't have to worry about that, because you can get those at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, I was fixing to say the aluminum cheap pans, they're really good. And then all you have to do is,
it's the holidays.
I go ahead and cook mine, Donna. I go ahead and cook mine. I cook both pans at Thanksgiving. But the one with chicken, because you have to cook the chicken ahead of time, right? But the one with chicken, I just wrap with tons of foil and then store it in the freezer, because, I mean, Christmas is only a month later. So it doesn't have time to freezer burn.
Because you've got I mean, those two holidays are right there together.
Right.
So go ahead and cook up a few things like that. You know, you've got room in your freezer. You've already got the dressing done. you know, and then your cakes and pies. And cakes are better if they've been in the freezer because they have this special.
They
they'll
get
be
moisture.
yeah, they
don't
do.
They? Yeah.
I don't know what happens to them. I don't know if it's the moisture that gets in there when they're in the freezer or what. But cakes are just they're better. And then you never know when somebody's going to just drop in and you know we do. We like to feed people when they come
and you
over
pull out something real quick. Now a cake, I guess you can, but you could a pie. A pie would be really
a cake
simple.
will thaw out in no time.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, most people like to put my cakes in the microwave anyway because they want it to be kind of warm, like.
And
so
then
go ahead and
ice cream on top.
Get you a good, put some ice cream and let that melt on top.
Ice cream on top. That's so good. Red velvet cake and a little ice cream or chocolate cake with an ice cream. Oh my!
And you know your candies last longer than cookies do. So if you're going ahead and cook up make some candies, fudge and stuff like that, you know, and that'll keep. And I like to buy at the end of Christmas at Walmart or whatever. They'll have all the Christmas stuff marked down. So I go ahead and buy up those little tins, the little cooking tins, you put cookies and cakes and stuff like that in. And then what I'll do is go ahead and make up a bunch of those. And when Phil was working, most of his employees got some candy and stuff from me.
But see, that's a great gift.
Oh yeah, everybody likes something handmade.
A handmade gift is way better than a store-bought gift.
Oh, and think about this: your kids in college. I remember when Brad was in college. I was saying, "Now, son, how many people are coming?" Okay, and he'd say, "Oh, just a couple of the guys." Well, it'd be a carload of them. It'd be like a clown in the circus, where the clowns just kept coming out of the car, or boys kept coming out of the car. So I always had a lot of stuff made up for them to take home.
That's good.
You know, and back to the dorm and.
Yeah, that's good. But with the holidays coming up, you know, you can go to the grocery stores and you can get the, vanilla bark or the chocolate bark.
Oh, and that stuff will last.
Oh, yeah, and you can melt that and get a cheap bag of pretzels. And all you have to do is melt the chocolate, get you some parchment paper, wax paper. Easy. Lay your pretzels on there. Is that the way you do it? And you dip them?
Just dip
and then put it on the paper?
And then just put them on that wax paper. And we'll get like Ritz crackers and put peanut butter and dip that in it. If it's a food, you can dip anything in it. You can even dip like bacon, cooked bacon.
Oh, really?
You wouldn't think about that.
I've not had that.
Oh, my goodness. Brad mentioned that. Brad and Larissa went to the fair one time. And Brad said, guess what? He took a picture of it and said, guess what this is? And I said, it's some kind of chocolate. And he said, it's bacon with chocolate. And I'm like, that's disgusting. And he said, no, it's really good.
Was it the white chocolate or the dark chocolate?
Either.
Wow.
Either.
That is a
cook
good
your
idea.
bacon. You want to cook your bacon, make sure it's, and it can even be, if you've made some too crispy, this is how you can take care of it, okay? Some people don't want it real crispy. I want mine to bend a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just dip it in that chocolate, and you're done. Now, but keep that in the refrigerator.
Well, I was fixing to say, you'd have to put that in the fridge. I would. And you want to eat that pretty quick. Yeah.
Peanuts. You can make these like peanut clusters. All you gotta do is just get some peanuts and put it in pecans, whatever you got, cashews, whatever, and just make about a tablespoon. Put that on your wax paper.
Oh, because make good chocolate covered raisins too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love chocolate
and it'll be much cheaper than going to the store buying all that. Oh
yeah.
And then now make them smaller pieces, and then do a variety pack. So get one of those. It's been burnt down to 50 cents. Those little tins that look like Christmas Santa Claus poinsettias, Jesus on them, whatever. And then put some wax paper in there so it looks pretty. And or you can do just any kind of paper, like
parchment paper, whatever.
Party paper, whatever. And put that in there, and then just do a variety. Just do about, even 10 or 20 pieces. It doesn't have to be anything huge. And then just put that in there and give those away.
Yeah, that's a great gift. Yeah,
maybe the ladies in the Sunday school.
Well, I know. Well, I was fixing to say like with COVID and sickness, but if you do it to the people that like you're talking about Sunday school class, church, your kids,
your youth leader, his wife.
Yeah, that could save you a lot of money.
Wife, because everybody wants to get the pastor's wife.
Excuse me.
The pastor's wife is so left out of everything. The preacher's wife, the evangelist's wife, your minister's wife. You know what I'm talking about. And sometimes they feel a little bit left out. And so make them feel special. You know? And on Pastor's Appreciation Day, don't forget her.
Oh,
because I'm
that's
gonna tell you
sweet,
what, no,
Donna.
really, don't forget her.
Because your son he's a minister too. Well, now your son's full time though, isn't he?
No, he's part time.
No,
he
he's
has
part-time.
a career too.
Yeah, so like my husband,
like your husband.
He has a full time job, full time career, and he just does it to help the church because you know, I guess they're short with them. I guess.
And preachers' kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget them. I was a PK.
Yeah.
Bill's a PK too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So don't forget them. Just little something. You can get those little bags.
Oh yeah, those you get those at the dollar store
or ribbon or something.
Yeah, you can get that. That is a great idea.
And then you got a whole bunch of people coming, like the Sunday school classes, coming over to your house. Have about 20 or 30 of them. It won't take you long to do it.
No, and an idea like for children for Christmas or Halloween. You don't want to do home baked goods then because you're giving to strangers, but you can do like Hershey's Kisses,
chewing gum,
Starburst. You can buy a bag of them, and
use those little individual bags
because they're individually wrapped, and then you can make up some little cheap little cellophane bags, and you can get those like from the Dollar Tree. Or the dollar store. Or Dollar General probably has them too.
Pack for $1.25.
Yeah, I mean, they're dirt cheap. And then all you got to do is buy a little roll of ribbon. And instead of buying, you don't want to buy individual ribbon. You're trying to save money. So buy a roll of ribbon and then just cut it in little pieces and tie up each little cellophane bag. And there you have it.
Yeah,
but the
and I'll tell you, make
trick-or-treaters
it look even prettier. Just get your scissors and be real careful with the blade, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And just do this thing right here, and it makes some little curls.
Yeah, if you'll take your thumb with the scissors, yeah. It'll curl up the ribbon. Yeah.
That's even prettier.
But you got to be careful with that. I always did it with preschool scissors so I wouldn't cut my finger.
Yeah, that's the best.
Sadly enough, I was always scared I'd slice my finger. So I used the blunt. The dull little preschool, you know, that says like K to first grade because they can't cut themselves with those scissors.
You know something else you can do?
I still
have
those.
Make these cute little books. You can go to Shepherd's Cove thrift shop, buy an old quilt. They'll be practically nothing.
Right.
And what you can do is cut that up and make a book out of it. Or maybe a book cover for somebody's Bible. You can do that. And all you got to, you can use thread if you want to, but just use the
That's a good
hot
idea.
glue. And do that, and it's something that's unique. Now you'll need to know the size of the Bible. There's big, little, whatever Bibles.
But that's something that a lot of you don't find them anymore. A Bible book cover or a book cover, and then you could actually, if you sew, you could actually make you two little arms, like two little handles, and you could sew that on. You could even do that by hand. You can sew by hand.
Yeah, get a pretty button.
I haven't sewed on a sewing machine in years, but I do sew by hand a lot.
Sewing machine.
I said once, all the kids were all on their own. I was going to break out that Singer sewing machine and start trying to sew again.
I'd
love to do that. I'd love to.
It's got a pedal.
Take up piano again too. Actually, I'd love to do that because I only took it a few years. Everybody gets, moms. You know, we put everybody in front of us usually until they're older. Oh my, we're already out of time.
Well, we love spending time with everybody.
Yes, we do. I hope y'all had a great day, and I hope you have a great evening, and we'll be back tomorrow right here at 1 o'clock.
We love you. We absolutely don't know you could be doing anything else but you're watching us. So make sure you stay tuned, and you can find us on the web as well.
That's right.
Us on the web, so you can go to IC, remember in Christ,
ICradio.media.
You can send us emails if you've got an idea. You want to share a recipe or anything like that, you can do that as well.
That's right.
Thank you for watching. You're the apple of our
eye.
eye. Bye-bye.